Good day and welcome to another segment of In the Spotlight. I'm Superintendent Michael Richard, and today I'm very pleased to be joined by Terri Mitus from the West Springfield Public Library. Terri, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure.
Very good. So we always start off really easy. We'll get you in the groove of things.
Sure.
Tell the audience at home a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, went to school, and a little bit about the job that you do at the library.
Okay. I grew up in Springfield. I went to school in the public school system until high school, then I went to Cathedral. I got my degree late in life after my kids were grown, so this is kind of a job that I started pretty late, but I have been in this job. I've been at the library about 19 years. I've been in this job as a youth services supervisor for the last 10 or 11 and loved every minute of it. It's the best job ever.
Good. So in your capacity as the youth services supervisor,
right.
Talk to me a little bit about why is literacy so important, and how can we encourage more students to really access the public library to gain, see those resources, be exposed to new opportunities, and how can you facilitate that?
Sure. Well, facilitating it starts at a very young age. The key is to get children to love to read. Everyone has had that book that just spoke to them and has started them. I hear stories all the time of wasn't a reader. My daughter wasn't a reader until she had that book. And then now she's an adult and she has 2 or 3 books going at a time, but she was a non-reader till she was 16. And so it just takes one book. Instilling a love of reading for its own sake, for the enjoyment factor. I think too many parents say, you gotta read, you gotta read, you gotta read, and take away that fun element. Reading should be fun. And that should be instilled from the time they're very young. So I guess for an older student, it's just keep looking for that one book. Come to the library, because if a student can give us one title that they have liked in the past, even if it was forced on them from school, we can generally find something that would be similar that might just get that spark going. It can happen at any age.
For sure. In your capacity also as youth services supervisor, how have you seen reading and the interest in reading potentially evolve over the years and sort of access to literacy?
Sure. I think what we used to see is preschool story times being ages 3 to 5, and all libraries just did a little preschool story time. Going down to age 2 was pretty rare. Now we have baby story time. We encourage it. Parents can come in. Oftentimes it's grandparents because of the way you need parents working. Sure. But we are doing story times at younger ages. People are really looking for story times and literacy activities from birth, but ones 1 to 2, huge. That everyone's looking for something to do, something quality, something that they can share in. And our little Walker story time is very, very popular. And then again, 2s. But I think the shift has been younger as far as preschool story times go. And that's where all the action happens, to tell you the truth.
Very good. So it's National Library Week.
It is.
And I know that the library all the time, whether I'm seeing it on the sign or on social media, lots of activities going on. But anything, maybe not necessarily special to National Library Week, but some upcoming activities that you think are important to feature that the community might want to know about?
Sure. We have a lot of things going on during school vacation week, which is next week.
Right.
We start off with a story time on Saturday morning that ages 3 and up, but that would go into probably age 7 or so. We have, they're doing PEEP experiments in our Science Rocks program next week. I don't know what they're doing with the PEEPs, but Rhoda is the other librarian in the youth room, and she's very creative. We also have Wii Gaming. We have, which is drop-in. We have knitting, which is also a drop-in. So we have a lot of things going on during school vacation week, which we try to always have something else. We have some drop-in crafts as well. And that information can be accessed on our website. They can give us a call. If they're already on our mailing list, they already know about it. So.
Right. And social media, of course, is
Oh
another opportunity.
yes,
Yeah.
Twitter and Facebook, which is, really not my strength, but there are others in the library that do take care of that.
If I could go off script for a second, Terry, and ask you about what you've seen in terms of an evolution perhaps between print media and digital media in the library. And tell me about who you're seeing accessing what, and what are the opportunities to, is there a chance for families to have access to digital media in the library? And I don't know if they can check it out or not, but talk to me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. If you have an e-reader, a smartphone that does that same job, there is a whole entire library of digital books. There's digital audio that they can download and listen to books. There's music that they can listen to. Absolutely. All of this information is on the library's website under Books and More, and you drop down and there's an e-library. You go onto the e-library and there's instructions, excuse me, there's instructions online where they can figure out how to download things to their books. It's really simple. We have been growing our e-library budget quite a bit. However, new studies have shown that for young children, print is better. There's more dialogic interaction going on between parent and child when it's not on a screen. They've just done a study. I have the study to prove it, where there is much more literacy gained, dialogic content happening between parent and child if they're using print books. So yes, there's been an explosion in digital content, which is great. I mean, if you're comfortable reading on an e-reader, we still have even adults and even young people who say, I like the feel of a book. I want to read print. Print has made a resurgence in the last few years. So I think it's probably a nice even balance that we've got at this point. But there's plenty to get for free through the library, either digital or paper.
For someone like me who spends so much time for work purposes in front of a screen, when it comes to the pleasure reading, give me paper any day.
And I have one of each. My daughter loves paper. She's got to have the paper. For some reason, my son, he's happy reading on an e-reader.
Sure.
So, everyone has their particular taste. But we'd like to tell parents, try to stick to print when they're little. There's so much more interaction. It's so much more literacy boosting to stick to paper if they can.
You partner at the library. You also partner with the Rebecca Burgos, right?
CFCE,
and so in her CFCE role, and she was on the show not too long ago as a community and family engagement coordinator. And you had a great event just a couple of weeks ago, the multicultural event at the library.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about the work that you're doing with Rebecca and her role, especially with developing literacy with such young children.
Sure.
And then coordinating events like the one that you had.
Sure. Yeah, it's great because I'm on the council. The CFCE has a council of many members that are involved in early literacy because CFCE, the grant goes for very young, preschool children up to kindergarten.
At birth, yep.
Right. And so I'm on the council. We meet every few months to talk about ideas, what's going on, what each professional is seeing from their point, and that helps to guide the grant as to what services are needed, what they're hearing from their parents, what we're hearing from our parents, and it helps to guide the programming. The library right now acts as a venue. It's a beautiful venue, and the multicultural event was wonderfully received. We probably had more people than we could probably handle, but that's not a bad problem to have. It is a good problem, exactly. But we host, they have a Raising a Reader program that they do in our program room, the children's program room. Just last night, they had a parent-child date night. So as far as the library coordinating with CFCE, we're pretty much a venue, other than the fact that I sit on the council.
But it starts that connection early.
It does.
It starts that connection early. Yeah. Kids learn to love a library and what it has to offer.
Absolutely, because the children that go out are out in the community, they come into the library and then they see us in a different place. They see us at kindergarten when we go do our summer reading. Oh, I know you. I've come to the library for Raising a Reader or story time or some other event that CFC is putting on.
Right.
So it just makes those personal connections, those face-to-face connections are so important.
We touched on a little bit of in terms of early literacy tips or advice maybe that you could offer to families in terms of steering clear of maybe
Sure.
the digital media early and sticking with print. But are there
Sure.
other ideas, other resources, any tips that you can share with families? I'm sure I'm setting you up for a laundry list, but
Yeah.
but are there a couple that you think are maybe more important than others that
Yes,
families can focus on?
probably. I could talk about this stuff for
Oh,
hours. Anyone that knows me knows I can talk about this
that's
for
great
hours.
though.
So, yeah, number one, start early. When electrical connections in the brain between how a child feels about something and the action are made by hormones, either happy hormones like endorphins or stress hormones like cortisol. Start early with your child at infant stage. Have a book, read. You don't even have to read the words on the page. Read anything. If the child's early experiences with print come in a loving, nurturing environment, they're being cuddled, they're being loved, they're going to have positive connections throughout their entire life. That's never going to go away. So print, reading in a loving environment, not where you're taking we got to read. You know, the teacher says you got to read, and make it a stressful environment. You're defeating the purpose if you do that. So start early and make your reading experiences, your language experiences rich and in a loving environment. Number two,
And we know that reading is the basis for so much other growth for in terms of vocabulary enrichment and writing skills.
Huge.
They all come with that. So the love of reading has some natural byproducts that really make your life as a human being, as a lifelong learner, so much more enjoyable.
Absolutely.
As well.
When you go to school, you are surrounded by books and information that you have to read. If you love books as a preschooler, as a young child, they're not going to intimidate you when you get to school. You're going to do better in school. There's studies. I brought a study. So I guess my second point would have been lots of language experiences. Talk to your child, sing with your child, read to your child, but technically you wouldn't even have to be literate yourself. Lots of language with your child. Those children that are surrounded by parents that talk to them and interact with them face to face, they have a higher vocabulary than their peers at 2. That distance just grows until the age 3rd grade. And that keeps going all the way up until what I tell my parents is that leads all the way up to their earning power as adults. So if you want your child to get you into a really good nursing home versus a bargain basement nursing home when you're old, spend those first few years giving them a language-rich environment.
Good. And so reading doesn't start or stop at the library door. It carries back home. But
Huge.
But for families at home who do want to consider accessing the public library, when can they do that? When are you open?
Right.
What are the hours? And is there anything special that they should know about signing up or getting a library card or whatever may need to happen?
Sure. Okay, so the hours of the library are 9 to 9 Monday through Wednesday and 9 to 5 Thursday through Saturday. We are closed Saturdays in the summertime, which often catches people off guard. The telephone number for the library is 736-4561. The youth department is extension 4. Let's see, what else? To register for programs, you can call, you can come in. We don't have online registration at this point, only because we still encourage face-to-face, voice-to-voice interaction. We like to know who our patrons are. We like to get to know them. We're part of the community. We like to know our community. So right now we don't have online registration, which is disappointing for probably some, but it's important to keep face-to-face. And what else?
If you need, it's a library card.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So we still have library cards.
Absolutely.
You still get one. And tell me about the benefits that come with that.
All right, library card. You can take up to 25 items at a time, probably more than you'd want to have. The library card will give you access to all of the online databases that the library has. There's a wealth of information in these online databases. You could do and you can research on Ancestry.com. There are language programs. It's called Transparent Languages. You can access those all from the website, and you'll need your library card in order to do that. Lots of resources. In order to get a library card, you just need to, number one, if you've got a library card in any other town, you don't have to worry about it. We're all reciprocal to each other. All the libraries are. If you don't have a library card and never have a library card, you just bring something that shows your address on it, either your ID or a piece of mail that was sent to you showing your address. And it takes about 3 minutes at the desk, and then you have your library card, and it's your passport to free reading, listening, anything else you could think of.
It's outstanding. And you talk about the shared resources with other libraries. If you don't have it in stock, you can get it.
Absolutely. A matter of a few days.
Right.
Some of the brand new, really hot adventure movie might take a little while. There's probably a lot of people on the wait list for that. But yeah, usually just a few days. Everyone's library materials are everyone's
Shared.
library
Very
materials.
good. Very
Yes.
good. So Terry, it's been great. You're not off the hook yet, though.
Oh no.
There's one question that every guest gets asked before we turn the cameras off, and that is, who would you like to see featured in the spotlight? So this is your opportunity to either really support someone that you love, or maybe really throw someone under the bus. That we think it's the former, not the latter. But go ahead. Who would you like to see sitting in the seat here and answering some questions to share with the community?
I guess I love her energy. I've worked with her in the past. That's one of those little collaborative things. Adriana Lugozes, who's a Spanish teacher here at the high school. She's got such great energy, and she has such great plans for her students every year. I think she'd be a wonderful addition.
Good. All right. Well, Ms. Lugozes, you are on notice that you're going to be a guest here in the spotlight sometime in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure to be joined by Terri Mitus from the West Springfield Public Library. We hope that you have a chance to access all the resources they have available to the West Springfield community sometime soon. And I look forward to seeing you again in the spotlight.